frankly. The four of the big six energy companies, including British Gas and Octopus, now refuse to install traditional meters when replacing equipment. I don't imagine they have any these days. The original deadline for all households to have a smart meter was 2020, man alive, with Ofgem investigation suppliers over missed installation targets. So let's get a word on this. Jasmine Birtles, financial and business journalist, is with us. Jasmine, good afternoon to you. At one point in life, you were worthless. You were nothing without your smart meter. I think it was for a brief moment. It was a badge of honour for people to have one of these things. But they became controversial rather quickly.
Yes, they did. In fact, originally I was actually part of the rollout of smart meters, and it sounded like a good idea, but that's before I realised what smart really means. I mean, I now replace the word smart with the word prison whenever I see it. Prison meters, prison buildings, prison cities, prison phone, frankly, because smart doesn't actually mean clever. It means surveillance. It means monitoring. That is literally, that's what it is. I'm trying to think what the acronym is. It's an acronym. It's like surveillance, monitoring, and some technology, you know. So I think, you know, we really don't need yet more surveillance. And we're getting it in the West particularly. It's coming in, and we're just sort of allowing it in because, well, we're being told to. You know, as you say, they're now, well, there's British Gas and Octopus apparently insisting on putting in smart meters. Well, we should have a choice of that. Do we want to be monitored or do we not? And you know, we should not be forced to have these surveillance systems put in our homes.
Yeah, and that is the point, isn't it? Even if it's innocuous, you know, for the greater good, shall we say. It's a great way of, you know, working out, you know, how much the country is spending here and how much energy, how you could be more efficient. Who doesn't want to save a few quid? You know, even if it was for that reason, the fact that it is a form of surveillance, much like so many other areas of life these days, it's a genuine concern. It's not a conspiratorial concern. There's a real reason why you might be bothered by that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have, you know, people on both sides who are getting in touch with me through my website, Money Magpie. I have people who have been telling me that, firstly, their smart meter doesn't work. So they still have to do estimated readings, and they have to get somebody round to do a final reading, you know, so that's a problem. Secondly, sometimes they do work, but they work too well and they give dodgy readings. So that suddenly their bills have gone up. But then I have other people who are on the, you know, who don't see the problem with surveillance. The usual argument is, oh, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so it doesn't matter. Well, I'm a lifelong church-going Christian, and if I were in China, that would be a problem, actually, because the Chinese government does not like churches. It certainly doesn't like Christian churches. So I would actually lose credit points, social credit points, if they knew that I was a churchgoer. So, you know, the idea that being a good person, you know, including being a good church-going Christian, is an okay thing. Well, in many situations, it isn't. So if we create these rails, these train rails, if you like, for surveillance, even, you know, at the moment we feel we have a half-decent government. I mean, you know, one has all sorts of views about what they're doing, but they're not yet wearing tight uniforms and having a special salute, you know. So even though we are allegedly in a democracy at the moment, there could easily come a time when we're really not. And who knows, even in our current alleged democracy, how much of this surveillance is actually working against us. Yeah, and
so, it's a fair... I was just about to say, just to kind of follow on from that comparison about surveillance, a friend of mine bought an electric car and was having trouble kind of fueling it, charging it. And they went back and forth with the garage, and, you know, and they realised, in fact, what had happened is that the particular manufacturer of car did not accept charging from some electricity suppliers because of a conflict of data collection. And I can't remember whether it was that the car was collecting the data, and some companies had tried to put a block on that, or whether it was the electricity company that was collecting the data. Either way, the idea that, you know, for example, you can get smart fridges now. So every time I open my fridge, it will register somewhere how long I've opened it for. It will then be able to, through amazing algorithms, be able to say, well, you clearly took a smart oven that will detect whether I've cooked a pie or a chicken. This is a really strange place that we've ended up in, right? I mean, data protection, what happened to that?
Well, that's just a joke. Honestly, it's a complete joke, data protection. There's no protection. And, you know, we could go on. Smart TVs that are literally watching us, watching them. And this is happening. And even, you know, those cute little Roomba vacuum cleaners, you know, those robot vacuum cleaners, they're mapping out your home and they send that map up to the cloud. There's so much. I mean, you know, all of us who have a smartphone, smart again, we are being tracked, we are being listened to. I would never have the Amazon Echo or the Alexa, because that is absolutely a spy in your own home. Again, it's recording you on a regular basis. They've even been used, certainly in America, they've been used in court cases for murders, etc., because they are recording things. So we're just being recorded and watched all over the place. As you say, if you have a smart fridge or a smart oven or whatever, all this data can be used against you later on if you want life insurance, if you want health insurance. Doctors can get hold of it, you know, and decide whether you could live or not. We're creating a real problem for ourselves later on, if not for now.
Yeah, it's a good point. Listen, Jasmine, great to have you on.